Everyone around you is completely obsessed right now. They're planning trips, counting down the days, posting pictures of their tans, and you're just sitting there thinking the whole thing feels like a chore you never signed up for. It's not that you hate having a good time, you just hate this specific version of it that involves sweating through your clothes and pretending you're grateful for the privilege. Here's what nobody ever admits. Summer is the only time of year that comes with expectations baked in. Fall doesn't demand anything from you. Winter leaves you alone. But the second summer hits, there's this silent agreement that you're supposed to be happy about it. Your mood, your plans, your entire life is supposed to reorganize itself around good weather. The sun becomes your new manager. Congratulations on the promotion. So what's going on with people who feel the opposite of all that? Let's go somewhere uncomfortable for a minute. A pretty significant portion of people, and scientists studying sensory processing have been documenting this for years, have nervous systems that register more of everything. More sound, more temperature, more input, more sensation. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people points to about 20% of us being wired to process environmental information more intensely. And summer is basically 3 months of sensory overload with no off switch. The heat alone, that constant, inescapable, sticky heat, can push a system that's already running hot into something that doesn't feel like discomfort anymore. It feels closer to panic. You're not being dramatic. Your body is just screaming something everyone else's body is whispering. Then there's the social thing, which could honestly be its own video, but let's pause here. Summer has this weird effect where everyone becomes free at the same time, and suddenly there's this invisible pressure to do something with all that freedom. The group chats start buzzing. The "we haven't hung out in forever" messages roll in. And if you're someone who finds that kind of social availability draining instead of energizing, you already know how impossible it is to explain that without sounding like you hate your friends. Which might be the one thing you're not allowed to sound like. But the exhaustion is real, even if the explanation sounds absurd. And then the guilt kicks in, which is somehow worse than being tired. Because you're not just tired. You also feel bad about being tired. You start thinking, I should be enjoying this. And when you're not, that thought twists into something heavier. The kind of quiet doubt that sticks around through August like a shadow you can't shake. Let's talk about sleep for a second, because this one catches people off guard. The longer days aren't just affecting your mood in some abstract way. They're messing with your melatonin in a very concrete biological way. Light blocks melatonin. More light means less melatonin, which means you're falling asleep later and sleeping worse overall. Studies tracking sleep patterns across seasons show that people sleep noticeably less in summer compared to winter. We're talking about 16 minutes less per night on average. That might not sound like much, but it adds up fast. Weeks of slightly bad sleep isn't harmless. And if you're already someone who struggles with sleep, who gets moody or anxious or emotionally fragile when you're running on empty, then summer isn't just uncomfortable. It's also quietly starving you of rest for 3 straight months, and you probably never made the connection. You thought you were just irritable. Turns out you were also exhausted. There's also something about identity here. Summer has a whole aesthetic, and if that's not your thing, if you're pale and fine with it, if you avoid crowds, if your perfect afternoon is a book and air conditioning, then summer is 3 months of feeling like you don't quite fit. And humans are wired to measure themselves against the people around them. Spending a quarter of the year feeling like the only one who missed the memo does something to your sense of self that you might not even notice until September finally shows up, and you feel this ridiculous wave of relief. That relief is telling you something. It's showing you what you actually need to feel like yourself. And some of it is memory. Seasons carry baggage. Summer might have been the worst time of year for you once. Maybe school gave your life structure, and summer ripped it away. Maybe something ended badly in July. Maybe you grew up somewhere the heat made everyone tense and loud. Your brain isn't great at separating past from present when the sensory cues are the same. The smell of sunscreen, the afternoon light, the sound of someone mowing their lawn. Those things pull you backward whether you agree to go or not. So when summer arrives and you feel this vague resistance before anything's even happened, there's a real chance your nervous system is remembering a summer you thought you'd moved on from. None of this means something's wrong with you. Actually, and this surprises people, preferring cooler, quieter, darker spaces tends to go hand in hand with being more introspective and having a deeper interior life. Research on cognitive introversion, the kind defined by how much time you spend with your own thoughts and imagination, consistently links it to a level of self-awareness most people spend years in therapy trying to reach. The people who are comfortable being alone with themselves are usually the ones who've done real work on that inner world, whether they meant to or not. That's not a runner-up prize. That's an actual strength. You just built it, partly because faking enthusiasm for the heat was never an option. What's weird, though, is how rarely people who dislike summer are allowed to just dislike it. There's always a caveat, "but have you tried" suggestion, someone offering you a different brand of sunscreen like that was ever the issue. The season has so much cultural weight that not liking it feels like a character flaw to some people. So a lot of summer haters have learned to fake a baseline level of okayness they don't actually feel, which is exhausting in a completely different way. You've been managing other people's reactions to your reaction to the weather for years, and you've been doing it quietly. Here's what I want you to think about before fall finally saves you. The way you handle summer, the pulling back, the careful management of your energy, the genuine relief when it's cloudy, that's not weakness, that's clarity. Knowing what drains you and protecting yourself from it is something most people are still trying to figure out. You already have. You've always had it. You just thought being different from most people meant you were broken. It doesn't. It means you've been listening. And if you made it all the way here, if any of this landed, I'd love to hear what summer actually feels like for you in the comments. Because for every beach photo and sunset post, there are a lot of people sitting in a room with the AC on, just waiting for someone to finally say it out loud. So, here it is. One more thing. A lot of you watching this are quietly struggling with the exact issues this video's circling around. A mind that won't turn off, a sleep pattern that's been broken longer than you'd like to admit, and focus that seems to have disappeared without warning. There's a link in the description and pinned comment to a resource built specifically for that. 7-day guides and planners that walk you through clearing mental clutter, rebalancing your dopamine so your brain stops demanding constant stimulation, actually fixing your sleep instead of just wishing it were better, and rebuilding your focus step by step. Each guide gives you one clear action per day. It's in the pinned comment as well. Hope you'll take a look.